Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett looks at a Habitat for Humanity project on the Lower East Side that was spearheaded by the former president.
Most people will walk right past 742 East 6th Street and never look twice. A 6-story building off of Avenue D that was once crumbling and uninhabitable, restored in the 1980s by a little-known group called Habitat for Humanity, with a well-known supporter named Jimmy Carter. Don Cow lives there and had no idea.
He actually worked on my apartment. And I did not know that until I moved in, and they said, this is the apartment that Jimmy Carter worked on.
The year was 1984, and the former president was already out of office and had volunteered to help restore the building. Habitat for Humanity's first project in New York City.
When I got there, I saw a terrible 6-story building that was filled with debris. Eventually, we got 42 people that went up on a Trailways bus and had one of the most remarkable experiences of our life. I never dreamed at that point that it might become an annual affair that has just enriched our lives in many ways.
Rob DeRocker was the project's executive director.
The press thought he was going to come, take a few ceremonial hammer swings, and then leave the rest of the week to the volunteers that he had brought up from Georgia. Nothing can be further from the truth. He was the first one on the job, and they had to get him to knock off the job at the end of each day.
President Carter spent a total of 10 days here back then, with Secret Service agents stationed outside the apartment and out here on the street. At the time, the Lower East Side had the highest homicide rate in the entire city. President Carter's work here in New York made national headlines and put the not-for-profit on the map. It was the first of many work projects for the former president and former First Lady Rosalynn Carter, building homes for people in need all over the world. Years later, President Carter returned to East 6th Street for a reception.
That time he came, I think he must have been 90, and he was ready to go out to Queens to build a house after we did the reception and the press conference. I mean, who does that? You know? No, I've always been very impressed by him. I'll always remember him.
A legacy of Jimmy Carter's private life that will live on here in New York. On the Lower East Side, NJ Burkett, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Among those already reacting to Jimmy Carter's death, Bill and Hillary Clinton, the former president and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, saying they, quote, mourn the passing of Carter and give thanks for his long, good life. They say he was guided by his faith until the very end. And Governor Kathy Hochul writes, Carter embodied decency and integrity throughout his life of public service. I'll never forget as a teenager meeting him in Buffalo. He was an inspiration to me and so many Americans. And Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer issued a statement saying President Carter personified the true meaning of leadership through service, through compassion, and through integrity. Our coverage of former President Jimmy Carter's death will continue in our next half hour as we will speak with former New York Governor David Paterson, who met Mr. Carter several times. And we do invite you to stay with Eyewitness News and ABC News as the tributes continue to pour in for the former president.